America's backbone was built on blue-collar business grit, grind, and muscle. This is where you stop working for the business, and the business starts working for you.
Collar Millionaires. Today we're going to be talking. It's a two-part podcast. So we're going to do part one. It's going to be about buying businesses and growing them. What Chris and I like to look for to buy, and getting direct, and how you can get leads and how you can speed this process up. This is a big problem where people are always talking about the economy and it's the market's down and it's hard to get leads. We're going to cut through a lot of that shit today and just get to it. I did this presentation last week at this deal maker event in front of a lot of people. They liked it. There was a lot more to do. So let's get into it, Chris.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I like your first topic about real estate versus small business,
Yep.
and how you kind of relate those two, the cap rates. So why don't you kick us off there, because I think that's a
All right.
pretty great point of view to compare the two different asset classes.
All right, you guys, if you guys have ever read the Blue Ocean strategy book, or if you've heard Red Ocean versus Blue Ocean, Red Ocean is basically sharks in the water, there's blood in the water, everybody's fighting over the same food. And Blue Ocean is where nobody is, and you're kind of just eating all the fish you want, and nobody's bothering you. And I specifically like to look for Blue Ocean strategies in business. It's a big reason I do gutter cleaning in apartment complexes. It is 100% blue ocean over there. I can, I would say, I wouldn't say houses for a gutter cleaning is red ocean, but there's some blood over there for people doing it. But for apartment complexes, it's definitely blue ocean. You know, when people talk about markets being saturated, there's ways around that. But when I look at businesses, I want things that are, so let's look at some of the things. I want them to be recession proof. I want them to be repeatable. I don't need them to be niche, but I need them to be a little bit under the radar. Ugly, boring. People aren't really thinking about it. Um, there's a lot of businesses like that. And if you go in there and you're even have half the talent and half the effort, you'll make more money than a lot of times somebody who's more talented and works harder in red ocean, because they got to fight everybody. I liked this. Like when I was 18 years old, I liked competing against, guys who were kind of getting drunk on the weekends and cutting grass. And I went in there and I was this young kid and I was kind of kicking people's ass. I mean, that's just how I felt. But I had friends who were I had a friend who was a valedictorian and then he went to Georgetown Law and he was very bright. I was thinking I wouldn't want to compete against 20 of him. I never felt like I was kicking his ass, but it's kind of the same thing. Why do you want to compete with everybody when there's enough opportunity in the blue ocean? Chris, what do you think about that?
You can sit there and just think about, when's the last time, if ever, have you heard someone say, "Well, I want to get in the porta john business"? Like, this is a niche business, but I have driven down the interstate and seen a fenced in yard with hundreds, maybe thousands of porta johns. When you go to any kind of event, when you go to any type of construction site, there's a porta john sitting there. Somebody's servicing these porta johns. And how much competition does he have? Maybe one or two other people in the area, maybe. Like,
Yeah,
it's just insane when you think about examples like that and how much opportunity. But then when you look at, maybe the real estate game, where everybody and their mama wants to get into real estate, everybody and their mama is sending a mailer out trying to get the person that has equity in their home to sell it to them. There's just so much competition. And when you move over to this business sector, people don't realize how much opportunity there is to purchase into a business that's already profitable, and insanely profitable, because nobody else is thinking about getting a porta john business and renting porta johns and then getting the maintenance of the porta john while it's sitting on the construction site for months.
yeah,
This is the last time you saw a commercial construction site done in a week? Never. They sit there for months with these porta johns, and they have to be maintained because these construction workers are eating these Taco Bell value meals. So it's just when you really start to think about it, it's hilarious, and there's just so much opportunity.
And there's a lot of ways to find opportunity. Some of it you can just stumble upon. Like I'll tell you a couple. Um, if you've ever tried to find space to park your vehicles and trailers and everything, and you've had trouble doing that, when I was in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, I had vehicles in both with trailers. It was the biggest pain in the ass. Like I literally was 30 minutes away from where I wanted to be just so I could find enough space to park my vehicles. So you know what I'm doing? I'm like, okay, there's demand for this. So if I can ever find a good piece of land that I could do that, I know that I could get a ton of people to do that. Another thing was when I was looking at doing roof cleaning in 2008, 9, it was all over the place in New Jersey, algae. Nobody was doing it. A lot of my customers for gutters were asking me about it. And I found one roof cleaner and I called him up and it was like the early August. And I said, yeah, I want to get a price on my house. That's what I used to do. I always called up everybody. I'd give them my mom's house. I'd give them my buddy's house. I'd ask them to do it. I want to know what people price and I want to know what their schedule looks like. But anyway, I was talking to this one guy and he was like, yeah, we're booked for the year. It was August. I said, when do you stop? He's like, well, when the freeze comes. I'm like, that's like Thanksgiving. He was like, yeah, we're booked out into November right now. And I said, I just started saying, hey, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm thinking of doing this. He was like, you and I would never bump into each other. We could be in the same town. There's literally like three guys in New Jersey doing it. Now, did that change later? Yeah. But there was nobody doing it when I was doing it. I was getting massive. I think I had like 39 leads booked before I even knew how to do it. Not started, knew how to do it. So I look for that's blue ocean. I could charge whatever I wanted. I was going into these $1 million houses back then that are 2 million now. I was telling them $1,000, whatever I wanted. I
I,
didn't even know.
I sit there and I think about what I drove past on my way to lunch, only maybe 2 blocks away from where I'm sitting right now. And it's a car dealership. All of the cars were missing off the front 2 rows, and they just seal coated the asphalt and striped it.
Yep.
This is their second day to be there. How much competition is out there? And this is a maintenance thing. Maybe you're not doing it, once a month. But I know when I had my asphalt laid in my parking lot after I bought my building, how bad it was. And they came in and laid it. And then I asked about the maintenance of it, and they said you should seal coat every year because that's the lifeline of this $50,000. And I just had like patches done. I didn't have a whole parking lot of asphalt, and it was over 50 grand what the cost was. So seal coating and line striping, that can be an annual thing depending on how much traffic is in the parking lot. And think about how many commercial buildings need that. And when you see it fresh, the entire business looks better because it's a nice, fresh black top with clean, clear looking paint. So put your money goggles on as you're driving down the street and pay attention to what you see getting done and also where you see maintenance deferred. You can tell when something's not looking that great, when things are overgrown, when there's algae on them, when stuff's falling off or flaking off. There's so much opportunity, and nobody's chasing after these businesses. And a ton of these businesses are baby boomer owned. They're at the age of retirement, they're ready to cash out. And if you're not knocking on their door, you're going to miss a massive opportunity
So
to step straight into cash flow and
let's
and
talk
and brand.
let's talk about some examples. Some of them are kind of obvious. I could go on, but pest control. Let's just look at that and then I'll run through some. It's repeatable. I pay for pest control every month. They come every month. I don't even know the name of their company. I know they pull up in a truck, it's wrapped and everything. They do a good job. It hits my credit card. I'm not going to switch as long as I don't have bugs and stuff in my house.
Right.
I'm not going to change. They do other ones in my neighborhood. I see them at other people's houses. That's an easy business where you can grow it, and we'll talk about how to grow it. But that business isn't going anywhere, especially in Georgia. Plumbing services, electrical maintenance, commercial cleaning. I like it because it's repeatable. I like that more than house cleaning because you can get big commercial contracts. Landscaping services, mowing for commercial condominium associations. I'm out of the landscaping business, but I still have a piece and a revenue on commercial landscaping because I got contracts that I had gutter contracts with. It's a great business, repeatable. No condo association, no matter how bad it gets, is not going to be cutting their lawn. It's not going to happen. Gutter cleaning and maintenance, I do it. We do commercial windshield and repair. Chris and I have a business with partners. We also sell those windshields to smaller windshield companies. So we have just repeatable business over and over. Your windshield breaks on a Freightliner, you get it fixed the next day. You can't drive, the DOT won't let you. Commercial roofing services, pool maintenance. I know a guy. I asked him after that because I thought he was, last time I saw, he was at 1.2 million EBITDA. He's at 1.7 million EBITDA. That means he's
Wow.
making 1.7 million a year. He was doing the reason I got to know him is because one of my buddies was looking to buy his business about 4 or 5 years ago. I did this long call with him. The broker was on, and I said, "Hey, let me just talk to this guy on my own." We started talking because he was doing all HOAs in Florida, like these big apartment complexes and the big pools. And he had hundreds of them, and he was using the same model as I was to sub it out. But what he did to grow that was he started buying all these pool cleaning routes for 40, 50 cents on the dollar. He says they're unprofessionalized. He professionalized them, wrapped their trucks, got W-2 guys going, gave them incentive-based pay, and now he's making $1.7 million. I mean, I don't know what the multiple is on that, but he's got a $10 million business, I guess.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, right? Pool cleaning, like,
Who would have thought?
who would have thought? Garage door installation repair. You guys probably know Tommy Mello. He's got a $250 million company. If you have a garage and your garage goes down, like mine has twice at my wife's car, I'm getting a text, I'm getting a call, I'm taking care of it right then. I got it. We can't get out the garage. You got to do it, right? Handyman services, chimney cleaning and maintenance. Chris and I got a guy in our mastermind. He's killing it in chimney cleaning and maintenance and repairs. There's so many businesses. I would call chimney cleaning, what Daniel's doing in that is blue ocean.
I agree. Yeah.
If
He,
if
his people in that area, he told me he said in our industry we collaborate so much because there is just not hardly any competition. So we share what's working, what's not working, resources, everything. And there's a lot of industries out there like that. And going back, I know we're selling you on like ideas of what type of businesses are available, but these businesses are achievable, very achievable to purchase. We've had several individuals that's come through our group that have purchased businesses, first time business owners. Some when it got bank type SBA traditional financing, others had private money, others brought in partners that brought the money and they were the actual operator instead of having passive investors bring money in. It's and the fact that the business pays the debt down and you still get paid very well is even more exciting. It's like and because I do real estate and I do business as well, it's easy for me to look at these two and I would take a business all. Did you realize that business and real estate is the two things that the government gives you breaks on with taxes because
yeah,
they understand that that's what drives the economy. Everybody needs a safe place to live and everybody needs a place to work so that they can generate their income, so that they can be good consumers and push the market forward and the economy to grow. And that's why tax breaks are given. So, why would you not want to get in alignment with those tax breaks? It's obvious that's the 1-2 punch in the economy. So if you compare the real estate and the business, for a piece of real estate, there's only so many levers I can pull. There's only so much cash flow that I can squeeze out of it. And there's only so many products of debt that I can put on this piece of real estate, and the real estate will pay itself down. But the business, an average cap rate, I would say for real estate is probably somewhere around 6 to 8% cap rate, depending
right.
on what type of market you're in. If you're in a really, really competitive market like Miami or something, you're going to see stuff lower around the 3% cap rate. But Kevin, I've heard you say many times, you look at a business. What's the cap
They
rate
could be
on business?
33% cap rate and better. All the ones I bought have been better than that.
It
Let,
sounds
let me
like a scam.
let me tell you these numbers. Once you hear it, see it, you cannot unsee it. I'm going to just take a deal. 3x multiple, meaning 3 times EBITDA or 3 times net income. So you find a business, let's say it's netting $500,000. 3 times that would be $1.5 million. So you're going to buy it at $1.5 million of business that nets $500,000. Okay. If you do that, you're buying it at a 33% cap rate. But let's just see how you could buy that. Let's say you're going to put 10% down. The SBA is going to give you 90%, but everybody gets seller financing. So let's say you get another 10%. So you do 10% down, 10% seller financing, and 80% SBA. Let's just assume you paid 10% blended over all that. So maybe the seller financing was 8, maybe the SBA was 9, and maybe you brought money and you even got an investor. You got Chris or I, and you paid us 14, blended 10%. That $1.5 million over 10 years will cost you $19,822 a month. Let's call it $20,000 a month. So you're netting $500,000 a year. You're paying $20,000 a month or $240 a year. That means day one, you're making $260,000 a year on that business.
Yeah.
You're paying the business with its own cash flow. So that's kind of how real estate works too, right? You're renting it, you're taking the rent, you're paying your mortgage. But yeah, great. But you're not making 250. That's for sure. You're not making anywhere near that. And somebody say, well, real estate's passive. Is it really? Because I own a lot of real estate. It was not passive. And you don't want business to be passive. You want to go in there and take that business that's netting 500 and you know all the levers to pull. You see they're not marketing. They don't have technology. Wow, they don't get reviews. What their customer service isn't good. All these, you want to raise prices, all these things to do it. And you want to have kind of reverse engineer, how could you get that business to $1 million? Let's just say you don't even do that good. You lose some customers, you gain some more, and you get it to $700,000 in EBITDA. Your debt still is 250 or 240. So now you're making another 200 grand. And then you get it to say, if you're really good at this and you get it to $1 million EBITDA, you bought it at a 3x multiple because maybe it's like a house that needs carpet and paint. Now you fix it up. This thing is great. The neighborhood's great. Everything's killing. Now you might go to market to sell this for a 7 or 8x multiple, $8 million. It's unheard of. We both know a lot of investments outside of like Forex and crypto that is essentially gambling. I do not know an investment that you can control that works like that. I don't know any. That's why I buy so many. That's why I want to buy more. And I just love it that it makes sense. If you couldn't grow it, you'd say, hell yeah, I'll do that. So I'm going to buy it at 1.5. I get 260. Yeah, I'll do that. But that's not what we're doing. We're going to increase it that much. It's such a good way to make money. If you stuck me in Oregon and I had no money, I would just work my network. Who can give me money as an investor and sign on? I'd work that thing. I'd grow that business. I'd sign on the debt. I get seller financing. First of all, you get more than 10%. I'd buy a deal 3x or less. I'd grow it in 2 years. I wouldn't even sell it because I'd love the cash flow. But if I did, I'd make millions of dollars. But here's the thing. When people say, oh, you can't get a business for 3x. I've never paid 3x. Not one time, always less. So don't tell me you can't do that. Are you going to find one on Biz Buy Sell for 3x? Probably not. Probably going to pay 4x or something, or it's a junk deal. You can absolutely find it. Chris and I aren't going to talk about it on this podcast, but we could tell you all day how to find deals. Chris found one just recently. Yeah. We just found another one in January we did. They're all over the place.
All over the place. None were brokered. They were all off market. It's because we opened up our mouth and started asking questions. So start telling people you're looking for a business to buy. Look, this was part 1. Show up next week for part 2, where we get in and finish this explanation of the blue ocean effect inside of the opportunity for buying a business.
Yep. We'll talk about the 10 things to look for and then how to grow that business and your existing business fast. See you next week.